It's AWTITUDE representing for Lion's Voice. Yes, massive. This is the time for I and I, the lion them to tell I and I story, our story. Yes, and we reign and rule like this. Reign and rule, yeah. Selassie, I reign and rule. You can't take the lion vibes, people. If you no fool, cause we know Selassie reign and rule. Reign and rule. Selassie, I reign and rule. Queen Omega drop them in the fire, pull from them, no Queen Omega, she reign and rule. Royal Kushite, ancient essence, Emperor Selassie in a majestical presence, flash of all sevens, projecting through I and I events. We sing a song for the king, we bring joy and blessing and overstanding. Yeah. We hear Jah every day. Reign and rule, yeah. Selassie, reign and rule. Yes, I lion vibes, Selassie, reign and rule. Attitude say that. Boondocks, Black Organization of Noble Diplomats optimizing expressions to the world. Till the world, till the end.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jaja soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up Lion's Voice. Now put it, I jolly for say that.
Greetings, this is Shiloh. The time has come for the lions to tell their own story. See? This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, yes, sir? Shiloh said that. Are you satisfied? Wipe those tears from your eyes. I'm all alone, still you thought I was telling a lie. This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, yes, sir?
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it's Exodus. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the Lion's Voice.
African pride, root of all nations, boy. I tried with the lion, the Ras Tafari. Lion of it tried with lioness like I too. Empress on the front line, we need you. Well, this is Medicine, the steady one, and you are now tuned in to the Lion's Voice Network. What the lion forward for do? Scorch them. Roast and parch them.
I will never stop, hail the Most High. And I will never stop, call Ras Tafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
The time has come for lions to tell I and I own story. Yes, you're listening to Lion's Voice. I and I is Rasabat chilling from the island of St. Croix. Yeah, I'm bringing to your Rastafari vibes. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Babylon born when Rasta come together. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Because Babylon done when I and I come together. Look how we live together, look how we work together, Oh, Babylon done when Rasta come together. Hail I, Rastafari, His Majesty and Empress men and blessed. Yeah man, hailing from St. Croix, Rasbacha hail you.
Aye.
Empress Manel, and I young science. You're universally unfold, be told. Blessed love, this is Itege Idama, and it's time for the lioness and the lion's voices to be heard. This is the Lion's Voice, Ras Tafari.
Yes, this is the I, The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. You're listening to the Lion's Voice blog. Respect and love from St. Croix VI to the world. Rastafari.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice. Rastafari.
Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to the lion voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.
Well, great is the Almighty, and greatly to be praised in the city of Haile Selassie I, the mountain of His holiness.
Yeah, from Cape to Cairo, from Timbuktu to Nile, you know, the whole entire continent.
Beautiful for situation, the joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion, from Accra to Addis Ababa.
Yes, it's a beautiful continent, better control, Mama Africa.
Very beautiful.
From Cape to Cairo, from Timbuktu to the Nile, I smile for Mama.
I hear you call Mama Africa. Been so long since I seen Mama. Father of Africa set the law. The lion come and dismantle Babylon flaw. We gonna use solar energy, use sanitation to build the ecology. We utilizing green technology. We hailing Haile Selassie first without apology. And then we build the youth them economy. We dismantle Babylon monopoly. We teach the youth them how to live properly. Tell them make sure them got the title for them property.
Yes, this beautiful continent, better control, Mama.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress was Zero Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Chasmach Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of Lion Voice Live. Welcome to Lion Voice Live, and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lions are telling our own story. It is African Liberation Month. We are celebrating the liberation of the African continent during this Armageddon War, this World War III that is unfolding while Africa is under attack. From east to west, north and south, we are celebrating the liberation because the victory is already won. What we are watching is the residuals, the dying of neocolonialism. Sometimes you kill a virus, it comes forward. But the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah has prevailed, and he did open the book and loose the seven seals thereof. So they can't fool the people, they can't trick the people any longer. You know what I mean? Big up all of our family, them in Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Sudan, you know what I mean, Congo, and the people are rising, they're waking up. And today we have two sistren from the southern region of Africa, which is in the news right now because of xenophobia. We're going to talk about it, but we're going to talk about something historic. So if you're here live, pat yourself on the back because the them are witnessing history today. I believe this is the first publicly televised reasoning among Rastafari on domestic violence in history. The item can check it out for me, put it in the comments if you've seen something else. But I do believe that it is the first, and that is what we come to do at the Lion Voice Network, is to create history. We are building the architecture of Zion on earth, heaven on earth, whatever you want to call it. And domestic violence shall not enter the gates, you know what I mean? So we are burning it out. Yes, I see the Lion Pride on Patreon is here heavy. My family, them from Reunion Island, checking in. Anytime I see the sister and brethren is a family, I have to celebrate one of my earliest Lion Pride on Patreon supporters in the house. So I know this is a special one. And Reunion Island, for those who don't know, is off of the coast of Madagascar. So when we talk about global platform, it's not just the Ras come on the line and run his mouth because him like himself and he just want to talk. No, we have facts. Anything we block on this platform with facts, and if we don't know, we say we believe, you know what I mean? But because we're not sure. So that's why I say I believe this is the first reasoning, because I'm not sure. So if the item can correct but if I don't hear no sound soon, family, I'm claiming it, because we have to claim the victory too. So if I don't hear no sound, I'm claiming it. And right now, there's a big debate in Jamaica around who is real Rastafari. You know what I mean? I have some Rastafari artists sold out. The brethren Yaksta is burning a hot fire right now. Tonight, I'm going to do a regular episode on the fullness of the Rastafari man standard, because we realize as brethren, there's a standard. So even this reasoning today fits into that standard, because a lot of brethren might think that they are very masculine, but if you beat a woman, you're not a masculine man. You know what I mean? This is very feminine trait, because why are you fighting a woman? I'm not talking about self-defense and a woman come after you and you have to defend your life. I mean, we're not talking about that, because that's also a reality. We're talking about brethren who most likely didn't grow the father, or they grew with a father who was also traumatized, because a lot of these things are wounds that are passed down from generation. These are generational curses that are passed from generation to generation that have to be defeated. So what we want to establish for brethren is that when you come into the liberty, you know what I mean, that is another thing. Just like you stop eat meat, if you have that violence in you, you need to put it down. Don't feel like you can come in a Rastafari and a beat woman and you still Rastafari. No. I mean, same thing like all of these other things that we burn, you know what I mean? It's non-partial, the fire and the flame. So today, family, history will be made proudly, without fear. We do give thanks because we hail him, great and thunderable King of Mount Zion, His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, without apology, crush, crumple, and paralyze all weak heart concept. You know what I mean? So the item just to know that, at the same time we full joy, but we also come to crush, crumple, and paralyze all weak heart who have been masquerading under the banner. So we want to just make that clear. And that goes for scamming, that goes for a lot of things where creeping in, womanizing, none of that not involved in a Rastafari, you know what I mean? So we have to make that clear Rastafari man standard. All right, so before we bring forward the guest, very quickly, let me just big up the greatest comment section on the internet. I am so proud. I see the item of filter in, big up the item self from all over creation. We little but we talawa. Yes, the thousands will come live, but we are here, and I love my little family that we have built online. You know what I mean? It's a loving comment section. It's informative comment section. You know, some jokes run in the comment section. We're balanced in the comment section, and we love our family. So every episode, I have to take the time to big up my comment section because I have gratitude. I'm a brethren that chat with gratitude. You see what I say? So I have to big up my comment section. Then we have to big up the greatest online community on the planet Earth, the Lion Pride. If you subscribe, you're part of the Lion Pride. Ross Bruno, big up yourself. I saw the iMessage. I'll reach out to the I, see if we can sort out what's going on. So big up yourself, Ross Bruno. We're building a community, a family. Lion Pride on Patreon. Big up Dr. Eleanor Wynn. Me and her had a great reasoning. So when you join the Lion Pride on Patreon, you are really becoming part of the working team, the inner circle, the change that is happening. You know what I mean? So big up all of the Lion Pride on Patreon. And they're also funding this engine of independent Rastafari non-aligned media. Because remember, as we grow, we're going to be sponsoring events. We're going to have camera crew. We're going to do all of the things that media does for a people. So, you know, when you support this, you are supporting yourself. When you have a product or a service and you want to come and advertise, you're going to come here. So supporting, investing in our media, making sure our media is big and robust and multi-million-dollar enterprise is helping for everyone, our artists, everyone. And this is why I also ask the item support our guests. When our guests come on, and even these ladies, we're going to ask them to share their contact information, and whatever their product or service, we're asking the item to send the capital on to the workers. So imagine, especially for my African workers, if we are sending 500,000 US, 50,000 of the Lion Pride send $10 US to our guests. Can you imagine what that does on the African continent? We're changing communities. We have that power. Here is just if we want it, you know what I mean, to harness it. It's collective security, it's crowdfunding, it's all these things. But Lion Pride, as we build this community, that is one of the main goals, is the economic development of our people. So I want the item, you know, yes, we full joy the message, but after we hear the message, let's take action. Let's send these guests some currency, you know what I mean? Charge them up because they're doing the work. So let us charge them. One thing we know is that no God from the sky is coming to save I and I. You know what I mean? I live within I and I. So I and I are the change that we want to see, but we have to activate the power. You know what I mean? The word is there. In the beginning was the word, the sound. Yeah, it's actionalized, but the power is when it's applied. You know what I mean? So we have to apply the teachings. So give thanks. Frontline Books, big up yourself. Ras Sekou will be announcing. We're gonna try to get these promotions out quicker of the 3 books of the month so the item can prepare. This is a machine that's being built, family. So, you know, I still have a full-time job. So the item have grace with I. The platform cannot afford to support our family. So we still have to balance. And the more we have of monthly subscribers, the more time we can put into the platform and really be focused. So everything works together, and we give thanks for the item in the fullness. All right, housekeeping out of the way. We have 2 powerful sisters who are coming forward today that are gonna break some boundaries, some chains. We are crumpalizing. Is that a word, crumpalize? We are crumpalizing the Vatican, Rome. We are crumpalizing all of the weak heart concept today. Please, Lion Pride, help I to welcome Royal Empress of the Ayabingi House, and we have one of our colleagues in Rastafari Media, Mystic Ebony. Welcome. Hold on there, Sister Mimi. Do you have a Android or a iPhone?
I think it's Android.
Okay, you have to swipe down the top and put auto rotate. Put it on, it's on portrait mode right now. Swipe down the top and put it on auto rotate so that, or you could just do that. We'll just work with that for now.
Okay.
Mystical Ebony, can you turn on your camera? Is it possible?
Yes, hold on.
All right. We want
Is my camera on?
No, we're not
Yep.
seeing
No?
the eye. We're not seeing
The mic
eye.
is on.
The mic is on, but we're not seeing
Is my
the
camera
eye.
on?
No.
It went dark. It went dark now. Okay.
Can you? Okay, there I am.
Is that the eye? All we see is a dark screen. Is it nighttime where the eye is?
Yes, it's 9 p.m. Right? It's 9:20 p.m. right now where I am.
Where is the okay, the beauty? Whoa. Yes, royalty.
There you go. Give thanks. Give
There we go.
thanks.
Can you see? Oh, it's also raining here, so I'm having a bit of an issue with my network. You'll just have to be patient with me, please.
Yes, no worries, no worries. We give thanks for this mightyful gathering. For those who don't know, Sister Mimi has been on the platform already. We've gotten her whole life story. She stepped into the time machine, all of that. But Sister Ebony, you are now a guest here on the Lion Voice Network. So we need to know, who is Mystical Ebony? Just give us a quick biography. Where were you born? What was your journey to Rastafari?
Oh, it sucks. Well, it's a long story, but I'll keep it as short. I am a communications focused creative with a strong interest in how people connect, express.
Okay, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, I think. Where is the sister right now, Sister Mimi?
She's currently in Thailand.
Yes,
she's in Thailand, and Thailand. Yeah, she texted me before to say the network keeps on. There she goes. She's
There
back
she is,
again.
there she is.
Give
Continue,
thanks.
Am I back?
Hey.
Sorry, it's storming, so I'm just having a bit of a problem. But as I was saying, I am a communications-based creative. I was a journalist for a couple of years, working for independent media in South Africa. And I came into Rastafari while I was still very young, early primary school from my mountain town in Mpumalanga in South Africa. And when I moved to Joburg, I then joined the bigger community of Rastafari. But I've been mostly based more in music and film, journalism, and art. And quite recently, we've taken the baton about addressing the issue of violence and domestic violence within our community, which has become a poison that's been growing for over 20 years. So we decided it's time that we actually take it serious and start addressing the cases head on.
I love it. I love it. And already I know that I have to collaborate. So we'll be talking offline because we have a collective of Rastafari media globally that we're building. So already I know that is going to happen. So I'm honored to meet the eye. The reason it's storming where the eye is because Lich Tafari was born with rain. You know what I mean? When you bust a seal, you know, when you bust a seal, because you bust a seal, you know, with this connection here, bust some seal in the earth, you know. So that is why the storm is where the eye is, you know. Me just want the eye know that So Lion Pride family, there is Sister Ebony. We'll have her to come forward by herself so we can go deeper into your history and your journey. Because today we have a serious topic, which is domestic violence. So we are going to go into it. We're going to hear what has been happening in Southern Africa. But this conversation or conversation could be the Caribbean, could be North America, because it's not just South Africa. You know, I've been trotting for some time and I've been hearing these stories since I was a young Ras. And I'm not talking about outside the wider Pan-African community, because it happens there. I'm not talking about humanity because it happens there. We're addressing our eye. Wipe the beam out of your own eye before you wipe out the next person's eye, you know? So that's what we're dealing with. Sister Mimi, for those who didn't see your classic episode on the Lion Voice Network, can you just give a little brief history of the I self, Sister Mimi? And you have to go and watch that episode. It was a classic. I'm telling the idea. Unmute yourself there, Sister Mimi.
Give thanks, Ras Kwasi. Greetings again to the Lion Voice Massives, those who've been there with us, who are still here, and the one that are just joining the family. I greet everybody in the Ivan name of His Imperial Majesty and Her Royal Majesty Empress Min and I. I'm also greeting my sister there, my foot soldier, Sister Ebony. I'm also welcoming her in the platform. You know, she's bringing such a good vibe in our community generally, you know. So we give thanks, Raskwasi. For those who missed that episode, my name is Molebohen Semela, Sister Mimi, rising from Azania, South Africa. Same way with the sister Ellie Age from primary school, and accepting the call of Black consciousness and the whole idea that us as Africans, we are the royal people, we are people with dignity, our pride is nature, naturally, everything. So yeah, since then, I'm currently, as I'm speaking, I'm at my business site in Welcome here at home, pushing the concept that one learned from the Gonguru Marak, Leonard Howell, from Jamaica, our Asian, who taught us about the green economy, being ganja, seeing ganja as a money mint to sustain our communities and our families, you know. So from that time, even this time, I'm still advocating and lobbying around Rastafari community members to take their share in the green economy of ganja, because like it's like one of those things that are there before us, but many are struggling to pursue them. So I'm saying, for being here under the theme of Africa liberation, liberation, or African unity, or the Organization of African Unity Commemoration and Celebration. I give thanks to be around so that we can unpack how do we demonstrate the works of our forefathers, the fathers of African unity in this dispensation. Because there's nothing new under the sun, you know, as it was in the beginning, so it's still even in this time, henceforth and forever, just us to manifest in different realm, but still pushing the concept that Africa should be free, even economically, because that is our stand. Why the gender base? Because of people are not free economically, so it brings forth a lot. That one, since I rise under the Rastafari banner, knowing that it's a royal movement, it's about love, respect. You know, those are the basic principles, or principles of an movement. So we are trying to make sense out of other things that are not really balancing the way we see them happening, you know. So I think that is a nice brief that I can say to those who don't know Sister Mimi, or who know them, who know her on the social media. So today we say we give thanks for the platform that we can reach out in this way, you know. Give thanks, Raskwasi.
Yes, give
Rastafari.
thanks, give thanks. Mystical Ebony, can you just kind of set the table for the reasoning around this issue of domestic violence? What do we mean? Let's start with a definition. When we say domestic violence, what are we talking about? You're muted, you're muted.
Apologies. So the issue of domestic violence, and I think this is something that I want us to be clear with from the onset, is that we do not only base it on violence against the mothers.
Okay.
All right, so this is violence within the home, whether it's the mother perpetrating it towards the children or towards the king, or it's the king doing vice versa. We are
Okay.
saying that we need to find healthier ways of conflict resolution and expression. And this is something that maybe, even though it happens within our Rastafari community in South Africa, it's something that leads from how our society in South Africa as a whole has
Yes.
been dealing with conflict.
Yes.
And we have a very big history of using violence as a means of discipline,
Yes.
control,
Yes.
and other things. And this is an unlearning that we want to try bring within the movement, that we need to find healthier outlets of conflict control and conflict resolution, and getting your points across, your frustrations. So that's where it starts with. It starts with finding healthy ways and outlets to deal with your
Yes.
children, to deal with your king, to deal with your queen. And for us, it doesn't matter who you are, male in our society. And it's been happening for such a long time, where we have been disappointed. Hello?
Yes, I'm seeing the eye. You're a little bit
Hello?
frozen. Yes, we're hearing the eye. We're hearing the eye.
Okay. Okay. It's something that's plagued our community for a long time, and we have not had a council of elders who
Yes.
have been dealing with this issue properly. It's always dealt with as a form of shame, something, and with situations, because, oh man, the king is he's a good king. He holds
Yeah.
a position at the bingi. Oh, he sits on this council. Oh, he does this. So therefore he must be a good king. Don't worry. So there hasn't been a very great support for women, for children, and for kings within the movement. And that's where we saw the issue, and that's where our view and tackle on domestic violence comes in. Do not counsel that can assist where you feel. Hello?
Yes, yes. It's a little bit choppy, but we're hearing the eye.
Yes, so where we feel that we can come in and start to mitigate and also hold people accountable, because
Yes.
nobody has been held accountable. Instead, everybody has been hidden. And so
Yes.
this is our view. And we also want to know that gender-based violence is not where we stop. We go on domestic violence in the household. And because we need a family, we cannot separate the kings, we cannot separate the queens.
Yes.
And we do not want to force a war where it's queens versus kings.
Yes.
We need
True.
to find a way that's holistic and family orientated.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. This is so profound. And I put it in the context of divide and rule is the only plan that works. So if you can divide the family, the king against the queen, there's violence in the home, then this is going to be the weakening of the nation, because the family is the building block of the entire nation. So I love how I put it in that holistic family context, even down to the youths, because we grew up getting, some beating from our parents, and we never thought anything of it. But we always have to be seeking to elevate to the highest, And if we look at His Majesty, who lead with diplomacy, it's very important if we can establish that as brethren in the liberty. Sister Mimi, talk to I about the definition. How do I see this issue of domestic violence? Yeah, I have to unmute.
Yes, I give
Yeah.
thanks, give thanks. Yes, for what I have observed, for what I've observed is like this issue has been carrying on from generations to generations.
Yes.
And when I was trying to make sense out of this senseless issue of kings also dominating in the household in terms of the woman can be seen, not heard. Remember, there used to be a say of the woman must be seen, not heard. So
Yes.
I think most of the stuff not being heard. It's like they withdrew actually, you know, automatically because of they know that they're not supposed to voice, not even supposed to chant, simple because of you are the female. So the whole mindset of in South Africa specifically, I can say at times I blame the apartheid era whereby the white monopoly used to oppress our forefathers and also our brothers. And then when they come to the household, they want to exercise their kinghood or their the way they
Yeah.
get to be
Yes.
oppressed. They want to express this within their families in many ways. It can be financially, it can be physically, whereby the woman don't have a voice. So we also observe that in Rastafari community that it started there, but very in a very simple or the way that is not being observed that this initial problem because of the woman was never embraced in that way. That is why the brothers like lately you can find that they can be free and do whatever they want to do. Unlike before, where the brothers was a little bit strict in many things and keeping the principles of saying, my empress is my queen, my woman is my queen, so I must treat her royal. Most of the men they come in the household and treat the sisters like maids. You know, you must just make kids, you must be at home, you must cook, you must grow the kids, you must not have a career, you must not have a profession, you must not have your business, you know, because of they were never embraced. So for me, domestically, it's something that I've observed within our household that has been taking place and embraced in many ways because remember that is happening in the household. And when it's Sabbath or when it's gatherings, the sisters are just there breastfeeding. They're just sitting and cooking for the kings, and then we watch them puffing the chalice, the kuch lawia, you know, kuchi, the coconut peace pipe. Because
Yes.
the woman from where I come from, we're not supposed to puff that. So we'll be just sitting there breastfeeding, making food for the kings. The brothers will pray, they'll puff the kuchu, they will chant, we'll go. And that happened for many, like a decade and something, decade and a half, something like that has been happening. There was no platform whereby the sisters, most of the sisters, unfortunately, they were coming through their kings, and their kings were not creating a enabling environment to say, sisters, maybe today you must not do the kitchen part, to go reason your woman issues, you know, reason about the creed or reason about what, because
Yes.
most of them they come because of the kings, but it doesn't happen like that.
Yes.
So for me, I see that as it is something that demonstrated today's issues because 20 years down the line, 25 years, 30 years down the line, the families are broken. The
Yes.
couples that used to be examples to the, even for us, someone like me growing knowing that after school I go there to read Jahak, or I go there to listen to reggae music, or I go there just to have Rastafari reasoning. Those families are not there anymore. You know, some of them are caught up in many things, especially in South Africa. Somebody will be Sangoma, or somebody will be something that is not natural in Rastafari, you know. And those things is not a new thing that comes with them, but the way they're imposing them is like the past frustrations are not leaving them any room but to shy away from correcting whatever that has been happening in a not good way that is supposed to be happening, because we have sisters that's supposed to be running a market, fresh produce market, you know. I always tell these brothers when I meet them, when I'm doing my small businesses, to say it's so painful that we don't have even one or two Rastafari women. From where I come from, I don't know other provinces or other regions, but from where I come from, who runs the market selling veg, fruit and veg? But check, there's no work. People are not working. People are not having profession. People are not. They don't have something tangible that are doing. So what is happening? The youth rebel to be Rastafari. Their youths go to do their own things because they can't find any comfort. They can't find something challenging. They can't find something interesting that their parents have been doing in
Yes.
Rastafari. You know,
Yes.
so that whole scenario that I'm portraying now is just to give sense of why we see this aggressiveness happening and
Yes.
families separating, because there've been a lot of pressure with less of the fruits of what Rastafari is. If we check
Yes.
Empress Menen Rastafari, levity and the way they have set example of everything. 99% in South Africa, we are far. 99%. I salute those, the likes of the I running, like from publishing books, like literature is very important because most of things get digitalized, and then our youths are not like us who have been reading the hard copies. We have many ites who have professions in UK, in Shashamanism. You can see that professionalness. For where we come from, it's 10%, whereby I can point Sister Z to say we have a professional nurse there, we have advocate Sipo Mandula, we have this, we have that. It's very rare. So we need to reinvent that
Yes.
mindset. We need to claim our right, because we
Yes.
we are coming from South Africa, and what we are raising now is specifically from South Africa. And when
Yes.
we check, it's like we are at the peak whereby we need to reclaim ourselves, because we are the government within the government, right?
Yes.
And we are the taxpayers of this country. We
Yes.
need to respect our talents and the blessings and the gift that Rastafari gave us, so that we can embrace the way we started to rise in Rastafari, but with the innovations of today and making Rastafari what it is. Because people fighting and the brother killing the wife inside the house and getting 5 years prison, somebody got killed and the body was decomposing, dress was falling. That is not who we are. And those things are what is happening. What we're talking about is what have been tested and proven to say that there have been so much evilness happening that needs to be
Yes.
corrected, to say if there was a rotten apple within this bag, it should be taken out. Because at the end of the day, we need to protect who we are, because we know Rastafari is non-violence,
Yes.
non-partisan, non all these negative things that we know that people are embracing, but we
Yes.
don't fight anybody. But we are saying, let's do self-introspection.
Yes.
Why the Rastafari youths are not having dreadlocks, they're not proud of them being Rasta. It is because of we never do enough. We were spiritually more than being industrious, more than embracing the material realm that His Imperial Majesty says. The spirituality and the material realm must balance, so that there is no diverting from self-empowerment, self-resistance. At the end of the day, my brother, I'm saying in South Africa, there's a lot of opportunities that we're going to be also unfolding later, to say, what are we doing? We are not just there to come and complain and blame, but we are creating platforms and opportunities that we can better our societies, because it's not everybody that is having a knowledge on how to step out of this toxic environment. So we are trying to come with mechanisms to say we are not fighting you, brethren, but you are saying something is wrong and needs to be collected. And it's a collective effort that we need to do. Sisters must get out of their comfort zones, dust themselves, and reclaim who they are. They're the mothers, and any mother is the nation. She is carrying the nation. That is what I'm trying to say. So the
Yes.
most important thing is that we must just look within and correct whatever that needed to be corrected, of which it was
Yes.
the physical of I and I. Even health wise, there's a lot of issues happening, and people are not taking care of themselves because they're too ignorant to acknowledge that if you
Yes.
are sick, you don't want to use a Western medicine, use herbs. Some of these domestic violence, they're happening because somebody was sick and somebody never told the partner that I'm sick, and somebody had the anger. Today, people are no more,
Wow, wow, wow. One of the key things that I realize, and this is globally, is that Rastafari, we have been disobedient to the teachings of His Majesty. We have deviated into personalities, bongo this, congo that, and as I tell my brethren and my sister, Haile Selassie is the head of this movement. There can be no other, none was found worthy. So because we didn't listen, You know what I mean? We didn't go through that industrial revolution that was necessary to create industry, to create economy. We didn't study the diplomacy of His Majesty, you know, how he dealt with issues, using violence only as a final resort, you know what I mean, as a brethren. So one of the things that has to happen is a return to the source of this movement, you know what I mean, 1930, when the revelation came and it went global. That is the source, you know, His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. Everything else that a brethren do to him have to prove it, that it work, you know what I mean? And I haven't seen any proof that all of this alternate things that brethren are coming with under the banner of Rastafari, that it works, you know what I mean? So that is one thing I will share just initially, but this is a powerful, powerful reasoning. I want to talk about what the item see as some of the solutions in terms of this, because I love the holistic approach, looking at it from a family, you know, even the parents to the children. I like the whole, because if we're creating heaven on earth, which is the job of Rastafari, raising the standard of living of the people infinitely, His Majesty said that. If that is our job, then how do we evolve even how we interact as a family? Before we go there to the solution though, I want to know from the eye mystical Ebony, in traditional African culture pre-colonization, was domestic violence an issue? Does the eye know? What is our indigenous tradition as it relates to male-female relation?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear the eye.
Okay, so because South Africa also has many tribes, I can only speak from you know, what I know from how my people, I'm not too sure how Mimi's tribe was doing it or other people, but I know that where they would at least have a space where Ndebele Tsonga.
Ndebele, Oshona, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Tsonga. So, and you'd have like you'd be able to at least go somewhere to a council of elders of sorts, where you would then say, these are my problems. This is what I am experiencing. And then that council will sit down and mediate and find a way to be like, okay, how can this be solved? And, you know, the brothers would be able to take the brother and put them on the side and say, but like, as a man, this and that, and that, and that, and that, and that, this is not okay, or this is okay. And the woman would also be advised by like either the Council of Women after having to mediate, and then the elders in the family would come and find the solution if the partners are not finding a way to reconcile whatever differences they have. But that is what we thought we had within Rastafari. It became dangerous in a way that people are being taken back into dangerous situations because some people treasure their relations with the king more. It's like, I don't want to fall out of favor with that king.
Yes.
So I'm not going to speak against him, nor am I going to go call him out. So we've kind of lost that thing where is that family issues become a community issue as well, where else you have people to come and mediate when you guys are at loggerheads. That's what was happening in my culture.
Okay.
But that also bred, even outside Rastafari, a dangerous premise where people are like, it's a shame, you know, if you leave this, or we need to blanket this and we need to cover it. So there's been negative and positive ways on how this was resolved.
Yes.
And it's leaned more onto the negative, unfortunately, because people prefer to sweep things under the table. People prefer to nurture relationships with others. And, you know, and it just keeps playing out even within Rastafari, where we've had a woman who spent years trying to get out of this relationship with her king, who is now behind bars. And She even approached the likes of Mama B before Mama B passed flesh.
Yes.
And like bless the matriarch's soul. But I'm sure her advice was also just because she's like, these things, that the king is okay. These things can be spoken about. We'll find a way. And the woman, because she looks up to this matriarch and she thinks, okay, I guess we'll find a way. And she goes back. And she went back to a cycle of abuse where her children were being molested by this king.
Okay.
On top of her also being violated, her kids are being molested. But because this is the structure we used to, that you go to somebody more older than you, somebody with more authority. But even when those bodies want to keep holding favor with the others, it becomes a redundant practice.
Yes. And
Yeah.
and
So
let me just say something. Because what happens is that this can be very uncomfortable to hear these things for us as Rastafari, but we have to shine the light on these things. You know what I mean? When things are rotting, we have to shine the light, let the sun come in so that we can address these things. And also, I have to understand that humanity is humanity. Ones are coming from all different wounds into the faith and putting on locks. It doesn't mean that they themselves were not molested as children. They're carrying these curses. They have not overcome. We have what we call the weak heart. We use this term, but we have to examine. The weak heart is someone who has been afflicted and they just can't overcome. They keep succumbing to that lower demon. That's the weak heart. That's why we burn the weak heart, because even though they don't intend, these could be a good person inside, but because they don't have the power to overcome, they become a danger to themselves and to others. You know what I mean? So this is why we burn the weak heart. And then now you have the wicked, who is just someone who totally has turned to the dark side. You know what I mean? And we burn the wicked. And both of these have crept in and have locks and a beard and Congo up, and all of that is a reality that we have to face. Big up my brethren in the comments, Tank and Dank. I see I realize there is not Rastafari, and you're saying, no one is perfect and His Majesty. I'm gonna just let the eye know, do some more research. First, I'll start there. When you come on the Lion Voice Network, we are not surface people who believe in His Majesty. This is deep. You're coming to the root of Far Right. So you're not convincing anybody over here about anything. We know the King. In-depth, serious research, so we know what we're talking about and how we see it. And we can agree to disagree. You may not see it that way, and that's fine. We can find other areas to agree on. But just know that what I think I know about the Majesty, we know much more, because we livicate our life to this. So I just want I know that in the comment section. So when I'm telling people to follow the King, it's not because he's a cultist. It's because we know His Majesty produce results, King. You know what I mean? Results in the face of opposition. Because remember, His Majesty was not uncontested. If His Majesty was unopposed, Africa would look different. You know what I mean? I tell you that the truth. But that aside, I just want to say that, because when you're talking about a brethren raping his own children, raping his queen, it's hard for enough of I to hear these things. You know what I mean? It sounds unbelievable. But these are things that are not just happening in South Africa. We hear these allegations. I can tell them as an attorney, once come to I with things that are very terrible. I hear things all over Iration, very terrible. I cannot share because it's substantiated. But these are things that are concerns, and we have to stamp it out in the movement without apology. Sister Mimi, is the idea, your camera, is it working?
Yes, it's working. I'm here.
I'm not seeing the eye. I'm not seeing the eye.
Yes, I.
Okay, hold on. Oh, there you are. There you are. All right. So I'm gonna ask you the same question because we realize that in Africa there are so many
Isis.
different, there are so many different nations. So for her traditional people, I was asking what, how does conflict resolution look from a family? I'm gonna ask you the same. I don't know if the item are from the same nation or kingdom. So for the I people, and who are the I people historically, and how was conflict dealt with traditionally?
Yes, I give thanks. Normally, there will be when the
What's the
couple
name? What's the name of the I
get married.
kingdom? What's the name of the I kingdom?
Oh, now my I'm from Basotho. My mom is Basotho. My father is Ndebele Zulu.
The Zebel.
So I'm coming from Ndebele and Basotho. My mom clan
Okay.
is Basotho. My father's in Ndebele. So automatically I'm Ndebele. So then
Okay.
Ndebele is broad. Yeah, then Ndebele is very broad. So yes, I. So yeah, it's different tribe from the one of sister from Pumalanga, but the
You're part
ethics.
of my tribe as well.
Oh, Ndebele partner.
Mm.
Okay. Because my father will say we are Ndebele Zulu, and the other ones will say Ndebele Swati. So that's what I'm saying there. I know that it's Ndebele, but there Zulus and things. It's a combination of the Zulus and Ndebele. I think it's same with you. Okay. Give thanks. So yeah, normally the African ethics are similar, Raskwesi, even with Xhosa and other like Botswana, Bapedi. The customs are that if there's a conflict between the couple, the matter must be taken to the elders, because normally before one get married, there's negotiations that are happening, and the people who are negotiations most are the uncles. So even in most cases, if there's some conflict, the matter will also need the elders, being the uncles, to come and put down the matter, and then it can be resolved. But on the other tribal or traditional communities, there will be a chief, whereby maybe sometimes the family itself, they can't resolve the matter. They'll be taken to the chief or the king, and then the couple will have to be summoned to be addressed, and the matter can be resolved. So it works in that two-way normally. Even also in Rastafari, it's supposed to be working like that. There are councils, as we know. So I think that is our African similarities in terms of how African resolve their conflicts. Yes, I.
Okay. Okay. Um, I want to ask Mystical Ebony. I've had a few South African brethren on the platform, and it seemed that most of them are polygamous. How does polygamy factor into this conversation of domestic violence? Has that been historically a more stable structure, or do you find the same problems in polygamous homes as well?
So can you hear me?
Yes, I'm not
Can you
seeing
hear
the
me?
eye. Though. I'm not seeing the eye. Your camera's off.
Hello?
Yes,
Oh,
I'm not. I'm not seeing the eye. Your camera is off.
is it on?
Your camera's
It's
off. But
say like
continue. Continue.
it's
We can
okay. Let
hear
me
you.
try
We can hear
again.
you. We can hear you though. We can hear you. So just continue.
Okay. Okay. So I'm a bit I'm a bit apprehensive when I have to speak on polygamy within.
Okay. We lost the sister. We're gonna go, Sister Mimi. You wanna answer that question?
Yes, I. Yes, I. Yes, I. Like in South Africa, we have few polygamous families, and I am not really into I don't have direct contact in terms of for me to say how do I observe them. But previously, I know from Johannesburg, when I was staying in Johannesburg, that there used to be a lot of abuse you know, because of the way the sisters was treated and the setup was not conducive enough for someone to say can be a polygamist in such environment whereby you don't even have houses for your women or decent
Yes,
rooms
yes,
or decent so I used to just see that thing that was not okay at all, the way it
yes,
was conducted. But I know few families, I'm not directly in contact with them, but you can see they're doing things differently because they marry, and it's like
yes,
they communicate
yes,
respectfully the way Africans used to, the indigenous Africans used to do
yes,
it.
yes,
Unlike what we were used to be exposed to in terms of getting someone having five sisters and sleeping them in one bed, and this
yes,
person is not even working, and this person is not even sufficient. He doesn't
yes,
even sustain himself enough to be carrying all this. But at the end of the day, we see people getting sick because it's danger. That practice was out.
yes,
So I'm
yes,
just hoping that whoever that is trying to be in the polygamy a relationship or marriage, they need to just uphold the principle of Rastafari,
yes,
because it's all about royalty. It's all about respecting who we are so that people don't take us like jokes. Because I used to see in Facebook that people will be making jokes about people are joling. They will call it joligami or what. But I was like, this is not on, because we're the Rastafari community and people are looking out there expecting to learn from us, unlike us being comedians about relationships that have been titled in certain manner that does not reflect what they say it is. So that is what I can say, my brethren. That is what I can say. It is not many families who are into polygamy, like I'm saying. There's few, but in most cases, people like to be free. Some
yes,
people have side girlfriends while they're having women.
mhm,
They're having their own mothers of the kids, but you'll still have girlfriends there. And when you see, they will be trying to make as if it's something that is normal to Rastafari, Livity, or
yes,
community.
yes,
It is
yes,
not normal. It is not.
no,
That is not. People are just saving their interest and their feelings, maybe.
yes, yes. We have to there's a template, you know what I mean? And once you deviate outside of the template, that's your business. But you cannot say it's Rastafari, you know what I mean? And that is where we have
Yes,
to be clear, because a lot of people blame Rastafari for their failure, but they have not adhered to the template His Majesty has produced. His Majesty have results, you know what I mean? We hail His Majesty because of his works, you know what I mean?
yes,
His achievement, you know what I mean? So we don't have any doubt, and we give thanks, when people see things differently. But we have no doubt because we have done, and again, His Majesty works still reverberate, still are impacting. When we talk about the Renaissance Dam that just was built
Mhm.
in Ethiopia, is who set that foundation, you know?
I am.
That was from His Majesty time, you know what I mean?
Um,
The architecture that is taking place even right now, when you look at the Sahel, Ibrahim Traore, all of these leaders, the moves that they're making are moves that a young Rastafari made in Ethiopia, from that time, in terms of establishing a sovereign bank, in terms of investing in education, infrastructure. All of these things were done by a young Rastafari and young the Chasmach Tafede, even before he ascended the throne. So the template is there for us to be industrious. I agree with I that if a brethren is even thinking about polygamy, he has to have resources. Polygamy is not for poverty. You cannot mix polygamy and poverty. It don't work. You know what I mean?
yes.
Polygamy, and I think, because you have more cisgen than brethren, if you have a brethren that has a lot of means, and those surplus cisgen them need a family, that is where polygamy in the African context, I think, come in terms of as a benefit, so that every
Mhm.
cisgen could have a kingman. But this kind of poverty polygamy, it's not gonna work, you know what I mean? And it does not work. I've never seen it work because I've seen brethren in the West try it too, you know. So it's not
Really?
easy. Yes, we have
Wow. On
yeah,
what basis? On
huh?
what polygamy? On what basis? Maybe if I may ask, because this polygamy thing also goes with the lineage, you know, and it's royalty. Like that is saying you can't be
Yes.
poor and claim to be a
But
polygamist.
remember, in the West, you know, we claim Africa, you know.
I'm
So
back. Hello, guys.
a brethren will
Oh
say
yeah.
he's African, so he's entitled to have his African wives. You understand? So that is the basis that they claim it. But as I'm saying, they don't have the resources to maintain these families, and invariably the families then break apart. You know what I mean? So it's something I don't lick out against polygamy. I don't feel I can manage it. You know what I mean? I have my queen, so I give thanks for my queen. But I'm not gonna fight a man. You know what I mean? I'm not fighting a man if you want. If you can manage it, but you have to manage it, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
the
man.
family is paramount. So I want to talk about some of the solutions. And if you're watching live, big up to all the Lion Pride globally watching live. This is a very necessary conversation because we're all headed to Africa. We want to go to Africa, so we don't want to go and there's all of this mess and degradation. We have to heal at the root. Mama have to heal. You know what I mean? So how do you all see some solution?
Before we move to the solutions, I wanted to just finish my thought before
Yes,
I got
please.
cut off
Yes.
about
Okay.
the polygamy. I don't know what you guys had said,
Yes.
but why I find it a bit problematic within our, I don't know in any other Rasta society apart from South Africa, is that it's literally become a sort of a mockery of what real polygamy is. Because first and foremost, it's not done right. People are not being married traditionally the way that you should be.
Yes.
We're not following the cultural rights, and you're waking up and you deciding, oh, I like that sister. Now the sister's part of my family. Oh, and I like that sister. Now they're both my queens. This is polygamy. It's my African right, right?
Yeah.
And we're supposed to just take you serious without actually calling you out for like just making a mockery of his family. For why? Resources, they had the land, they had everything that they needed to take
Yes.
care of those households, which meant that there was little conflict because we're not fighting for resources.
Exactly.
And you're managing your compound well. So within here, the things that are happening is a brother who can't even rub two ganja heads together for himself, yet he wants to be in a polygamous relationship. So what is happening in South Africa a lot is just a mockery.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think only a handful of people actually do practice real polygamy. And then even a lot of these polygamists are having these sisters that they had 15, 20 years ago, and those kids are not being taken care of.
Okay.
You know? And so what type of king are you? What type of polygamist man are you who can't even do the basic thing like take care of your family? Yet every other year you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 4 new women as your queens. So it's become an absolute mockery, absolute mockery of a beautiful tradition. So yeah, that's my biggest issue. And it also causes a lot of friction with the sisters as well. And we've seen this and we've watched it happen and unfold right in front of us. And it also creates a lot of sisters who leave very bitter.
Yes.
Because they feel like they were bamboozled into some sort of like sex cult of sorts or something like that. So within the Rastafari, that's why I don't really want to speak around it, because I don't recognize half of it.
Yes.
You know,
No.
there
No.
are some people who have done it right, and I respect those ones. I really respect them for respecting tradition.
Yeah, and that is the stance I take. You know, it has to be done properly. It has to be resourced. You know, and we had a brethren on here from South Africa who said the same thing. You know, where you have to go to the families. The families have to be involved of the sistering. You know what I mean? It's a whole process. It's not just you pick up someone and add them. So I definitely give thanks, and I know a lot of people, brethren, not going to like hear these sounds, but this is the lion voice, you know what I mean? All the lions, the pride have to talk. We have to hear from the whole village. If we're going to heal, if we're going to become the power that we need to become to survive and to thrive during this Armageddon, we have to heal our families. Strong families make strong communities, make strong states, make strong nation, make strong earth, you know what I mean? So we have to heal our families. That is paramount. And we are hearing from the sistren, the daughters of Zion, born and raised on the continent. We are hearing it straight, family. This is a historic episode. If you are here live, put in the comments where you're watching from. You're not going to see this anywhere else on the planet other than the Lion Voice Network. Now, tell you them. Sister Mimi, what are some of the solutions? Because I want us to talk about, all right, now we've identified the problem. How can we move toward implementing some solutions? And I'll start with the eye.
Give thanks, Aya. It's simple according to the way I see it, is that we need to emancipate ourselves from economical downpression.
Yes.
Of which we are also contributing indirectly ourselves. Yes. We need to step up and claim any aspect. I'm talking about the sister who knows how to bake but not using baking or bakery as economical sustainability for her household. I'm talking about the brother who can fix shoes but not using that skill to sustain his family. So for me, I'm saying let's go back to the basics, whereby we were surviving without even having the coin and the paper in our hands, but we could cook, we could eat, we could sleep, we could do everything without even having actual coins, that is called money, because of our own people is our own resources. I think sisters, I will talk more with my sisters to say that let's use this Africa month, Organization of African Unity Month, African Liberation Month, to liberate ourselves from economical poverty and all these economical challenges that are creating social illnesses. Let's start from let's normalize working together. Let's normalize partnering together. Let's normalize collaboration. Stop thinking that when you go or approach Sister Mimi for some soundful business idea or project idea or fulfilling the greed, that I'm going to make Sister Mimi to shine, or I'm shy to approach her. Let's normalize working together, because unity is strength. Let's start with the food, what is this? Food security. Let's start with food security. Let's start little as much as we can to create more. Let's liberate ourselves from economical bondage. That is the main challenge. The main challenge is that we can't take our kids to universities. Our youths, after they finish matric, they're not going anywhere. It's few that parents have planned for their education and things like that. So I'm just saying, even also with the brothers, let's also pick up the battle of knowing that the lions are the security of their nation or their families or their communities. Let the brothers be that strength to the community and the family. Let's the brothers be approachable when the sisters have certain ideas or the business plan, to say that let me go to that brother or let me go to that family. Let's be that Rastafari community and movement, that knowing that our own resources, it's our goal, it's everything, it's golden. So let's start a little. let's embrace our skills. Let's start approaching different organizations. It can be public entities or it can be a private entities. When talking about South Africa, there's a lot. Regardless of the challenges of whatever that is happening politically and otherwise, but there's a lot of opportunities that wants one just to search and have a plan and have your own schedule or program or time frames to say, at this certain stage I want to achieve something, at this maybe this season I want to achieve this, the next season I want to achieve that, because we can't be a normal society that just live because the sun is rising and setting, and every day we just chat and we just browse on Facebook, but on the ground there's nothing tangible. Let's try to have something tangible that can embrace who we are, because as Rastafari communities, we are royal people. We are the Africans automatically are royal because we are surrounded by many minerals. There's a green economy that needs to be embraced, from recycling, from picking up papers, plastic and tins like metals. Picking those things up, you are cleaning the environment. You are playing your part as Rastafari community member, but you are also creating the industry for your own self. So when we talk about green economy, we just don't talk about ganja, but we cannot have such reasoning and then we don't embrace the green economy that is played by the role that the ganja is playing in our society. Being African, Africa Unity Month, let's also embrace the ganja economy. The government is trying with the Pakistan send boxes. We have organizations like Mbosa, Marijuana Board of South Africa, that has been advocating and that has been consistent. That is even being represented now at the ministerial committees in Parliament, whereby it is being driven by Rasta, it's Rastafari concept. So let's work together, let's embrace each other so that we can bridge the gap of economical illness and exclusion of INI in our country's economy, because everything in South Africa is so expensive, my brother. From electricity, it's so expensive. The transport is expensive. If you don't bake your own bread, it's so expensive. Like everything literally is expensive. So we need to bridge the gap, because if you don't do that, you're gonna find many people falling and not keeping the image of Rastafari because they need to compromise themselves so that they can feed their families. So before we reach that level that we already being into, let's try to work towards redeeming that. Let's work towards claiming our own rights, because in South Africa there's I think it's section 22 saying that everyone in the country 18 years and above, they have a freedom to choose their own trade, what you want to trade in. So I chose to trade in cannabis. It's my right, it's my constitutional right. So if there's any funding out there for cannabis, it's my right to apply. It's my responsibility as a responsible citizen of the country. I must apply, I must search, I must go and knock in the offices, because my industry also has something that I can benefit, because we are saying the inclusion, but we've been excluded, and we also excluded ourselves because of the social illnesses and the whole concept of saying, as Rasta, we rebel against everything and we fire ban everything. But at the end of the day, we go and get social grants from same Babylon. We go get different grants that you just get them because you are a South African citizen. If I give birth, Raskwasi, to a child in South Africa, I'm entitled to get 540 or 530 just because I'm not working, and then I'm earning less than 3,000 rand. I think it's 3,000 or something. If I learn less than that, I qualify to go and register for a child support grant. If I am I'm a youth, and even I'm not a youth, I'm an adult, I don't work, I have social grant that I'm getting for not working. South Africa is paying people for not working 370. And these Rastas, they will go and get the 370. And when we say to them, Rastas, let's have a meeting, let's go and do presentation, they will say it's Babylon, you want to eat Rasta money, you go around and get Rasta money. But when you check these people, they're not doing anything. But at the end of the day, they go and get 370. And that 370 that they get, they can't even combine it together to start to own a fruit and veg market, ital market, They don't do that. So I think the solution lies there, as Kwasi, to say that let's. I always say self introspection before I can go and point another person. Let's look at myself. Am I satisfied by going to work for someone, or actually I can just plan to plant, just buying a seed for less than 50 rand and plant the spinach and plant the green beans in 9 weeks. I can harvest and then I can sell and I can build a shelter. I will sell by the neighborhood. I can do it. People that don't do that. Rasta used to do that, so they need to go to the old. They need to go to the old school, the old way of doing things. Like we said, nothing new under the sun. They need to just polish themselves, and then we can have a good a living environment. We can
Thank
have
you.
more of the youth rising. Yes, I.
Yes, no, it's very, very important, because what's going to happen is that with this war that's happening, the price of fuel is going to skyrocket, the price of diesel. So food is going to get more expensive that you buy in the grocery store. So for I and I all around the world, this provides an opportunity, because a lot of the problems that we have is because we're not sovereign in terms of our economics. You know what I mean? As you say, we're dependent on government assistance. We're dependent on things that are external to our community, and that is not the example set by His Majesty and Empress Menen. Yes, they were nobility, but how did they spend their money? They invested it in businesses and then took that money and reinvested it in the growth of the nation. So we have a template then in terms of how to deal with money that we are ignoring, and we're suffering because of it. So we have to get serious. Mystical Ebony, we're talking about the solutions to what's happening right now. How did I see solutions?
Okay. Now, Mimi has touched on very important points, which is economic empowerment for women specifically, so that they can, which is, I guess, if we are being fair without being divisional, is that the people who suffer the most are the women. And that is one aspect that's very great and that's needed. But for me, because I look at it holistically within the family and with everybody involved, I think we have to be serious about re-education.
Yes.
Re-education. And just remember that we need to start, we can't undo what has happened to us, but we have to remember that kids are watching.
Yes.
And how we are growing them is how we determine the next generation of Rastas will be. So we need to start fixing our issues and have a re-education. We need to be serious about consciousness. And as Africans, we can't separate what we say from how we live, especially as a conscious people, which is what Rastafari is supposed to be. So we need to really reinvest in our consciousness. We need to also bring accountability in a real way. We do not have real accountability. So we need to have better structures that can hold ITES accountable. We have the Bingi, we have breakout groups, right, of Rastafari people who could sit and say, like, this is the Council of Brothers. And as the Council of Brothers, we are going to deal with this. So we need to maybe have workshops where brothers meet more often and we actually share family-orientated things, like how do we grow stronger families, right? And then we also need to take away the idea that silence and shame, or like silence and hiding shame, are the best way to do things. That goes back to like relearning and re-educating ourselves on how to move forward. For me, that is the most important: re-education, accountability, and actual structures and systems that address this. Because so far we have failed. People have gone to the elders and they've been disappointed. People have been failed. So we need proper structures, and we can't keep waiting for somebody to establish those. And that's why Mimi and I have partnered up and in our little way have been addressing these issues. We also need to remember that it's not always Babylon, like the system and whatever the government can give us to establish this thing could also be more helpful for how we go forward, because we have a phobia, like Mimi said, that no, when we type a thing, let's go take this money from the social development, we're going to say, no, Babylon's going to do this. No, that social development excess is going to help us have shelters. If the Muma cannot go anywhere else and it's very hostile in the house, where can she run to?
Yes.
There's no way. We don't have those structures. If I'm hungry and no matter what I'm doing, I can't deal, like maybe I can go to that organization by the sisters and get a food parcel.
Yes.
Because those are also like bread and butter issues are some of the things that cause a lot of these violence and frustrations.
Yes.
So we don't have structures, and that is the most important. We don't have real structures, and that's where we should start, in my view.
Yes.
But there's always more solutions, but these are some of the ones that we have thought about in our banter with Mimi. And we also just remember that domestic violence is not a personal issue, it's actually a community issue. And we need to start taking it like that. And people usually then tend to use maybe Facebook as an outlet because they feel failed by every other way. And we also need to stop that. Yes, social media can be used for awareness, but we need a real place where somebody can feel safe, can feel seen, and can have real action.
Yes.
That can happen from there. So we need responsibility, accountability, re-education, and most importantly, economic empowerment.
Yes. I love it. And what I would recommend today, I and Sister Mimi, is focusing on the economic piece first, because as I know, institutions require funding to be sustainable. And so you want to, like the idea of the vegetable stand, because food is going to become paramount, and our community is not well positioned right now to deal with this opportunity. When there's a crisis, there are disaster, but there's also opportunity. People make money during every crisis, you know what I mean? So we need to position ourselves. There's a global food crisis on the way, and the food crisis is because the chemical fertilizers coming out of the Middle East are, I think 40% of them coming out of Qatar have been stopped. So this creates a deficit. Then we also have the price of diesel, which has gone through the roof, which is also creating increased costs of transportation. So both of these things mean that local produce is going to become premium, and then also ITAL, being able to produce food without the chemical fertilizers and all of these things. So if we could even have a collective, of sistren that have a stand, Mystical Ebony could help them with the branding and the packaging, the social media, and you really market this thing, and you have the fresh vegetables and different things that can build the economy, so that you can hire a staff, so that you can have a budget now to create this safe house and the other parts of the project that you're talking about. But there has to be an economic engine. And then the sistren that stay at the safe house could work at the vegetable stands. You know what I mean? So you have some kind of system, if a sistren have to leave her situation, that she can go into a safe. And then from the brethren perspective, I think that we need to identify counselors, therapists who are trained within the Livity. And I know we have them already, but we need to identify them, because a lot of brethren have rage in them from trauma or wounds that they suffered as children, We had a brethren on last night from Liberia who witnessed his uncle being murdered in front of him at the age of 8 during the Civil War. And he said as a teenager, he almost went into badness and violence and these things because of things he was dealing with that he wasn't even aware. So we have a lot of brethren who probably came up in a violent home who, you know, in turn, and this is why I always put it in the context of generational curses. And as just like a brethren would stop eating meat to come into the levity, or a brethren would stop combing his hair, we have to identify all of these negative behaviors as brethren and be prepared to leave these as Babylon, which is why I titled this episode Domestic Violence is Babylon. So all of the things them with the ones them are burned, know that domestic violence is also Babylon. That is not of I and I. We never see that example from His Majesty and Empress Menem. You cannot put that onto Rastafari. That is something that is Babylon, which Babylon means confusion. You know, that's the meaning of Babylon is confusion. So I say all of that to say, my sisters, it's a long road that the IDEM have embarked on. It's a lonely road sometimes, but it's a worthy road. You know what I mean? It's a worthy road because the work has to be done. This is pioneering work, you know. This is pioneering work, and I'm confident that the IDEM will be victorious. So the eye is in Thailand now, Mystical Ebony. When is the eye planning to return to? So how are we going to get this thing together? Sister Mimi, I know she's a battlefield angel, but she needs some assistance on the ground. What's the future?
Well,
What does the future look like?
I do come home once or twice a year, depending on what I need to do. And the plan is to actually, end of May, to be at home for the conference that Mimi has been planning for. Mimi, did you did you speak about the conference?
No, I wanted to talk about it at the end as I was gonna, that is something that I was gonna talk about now, you know, filling
Okay.
up in terms of the solutions. Give thanks. Yeah, Rascosi was asking if you are coming home. H, we can't wait to have her because she's another soldier. That is why we had to be strategic with the conference because it's supposed to happen last year, but because of the resources, we could not host it last year. But the initial plan is that we're going to be hosting it at the end of May under the African Unity theme, whereby the Department of Small Business going to be coming as partners for hosting these conferences. Like you're saying, I need soldiers that I can work with. There's a cooperative that we are working on because I had to get the team of sisters on the ground because Balichi is very good in terms of connecting us and doing the part of marketing, and then us on the ground. We have sisters from different provinces that are going to be coming to be part of the cooperative that we're going to register so that we can also encourage other sisters to establish corporations. That is one of the outcomes that we are looking forward to get after the conference has been held. So we are planning to have a 2-day conference whereby the first day we will be having information sharing session, being from the public governance, like the small business department, trade and industry, and tourism department. They're going to be doing presentations in terms of what policies they are having that can include I&I in the economical activities that are happening. And also we're going to be creating a platform on the next day whereby the sisters going to be pitching, they're going to be pitching the business ideas. And we are looking forward to have at least 5 businesses that can be empowered out of the conference, being from whatever the province. But the opportunity that we are also bringing to the sisters is that we are saying we're going to be transporting them, we're going to be accommodating them, and then basically we are just giving them opportunity for them to come and showcase their craft or services. And then also, we don't want to have a conference whereby we're going to be talking about social illness and depressing ourselves, but we want to talk about that and heal by
providing solutions of including them in terms of these departments are the strategic departments that are acknowledging those who want to start small business like your fruit and veg market. They have different schemes that you don't even need to register sometimes the business. But as long as you are doing that small business, they assist in capital. They assist in buying materials, buying stock for those who need stock, buying equipment for those who are into catering. So the conference is all about that. So we are looking forward to have some elders also at the conference that can come and witness this milestone that we are trying to create for ourselves and for our sisters. So we are looking forward to have Sister Ebony through your powers by month end, and also other sisters from different regions, different provinces that's going to be coming and embracing all these efforts that we are trying to use as mechanisms to heal and then be a better nation, you know?
Give thanks, give thanks. Very important, the work, and the Lion Voice Network will be here for the eye. When you want to promote the conference, we'll be happy to share any information, and the item can come forward and reason on it. Here, this is what we created this platform for. And again, I give strong encouragement to encourage the sister in them into food production, you know. Rastafari sovereignty. We have to control our food. If we can't eat, we can't. Everything else we're talking about don't make no sense, you know. If we can't eat, or if we're depending on Babylon to feed us, then they're gonna control us. So especially in Africa, it starts with our food. And His Majesty said that agriculture is a prerequisite for industrialization. You know what I mean? His Majesty said that we have to start with an agricultural foundation. And I'm saying that to the brethren as well. You know, a lot of the frustration comes from not having the economics. I know a lot of us want to be artists. A lot of us want to go to the studio and become a superstar. It's not going to happen for everyone. But everyone can plant food. You know what I mean? Everyone can.
Yeah,
and that is going to be our wealth. I'm telling the item, the earth is about to go through some serious economic collapse. And in those times, the people who control food, you know what I mean, are the people who are going to be the most secure. You know what I mean? Because food and water is the source. You know what I mean? We need to be strategic. And if the sister in them can identify land where you can have sister in farming, ITAL organic food, and then you have the supply chain where you have sister in them that man the market. You have your red, gold, and green stall. You have your, you know what I mean, nice packaging. You have your social media going so that people know where they can get the good food, the thing. And, you know what I mean, we put it together a business plan. And trust me, we're going to see a great strength and economic support families. So, Mystical Ebony, it was storming where you are because I think today is marking the beginning of a great connection. I'm going to talk to the eye offline how we can collaborate. What is the name of your media platform? Does the eye have a media platform that the eye utilize?
So my media company is called Black Mist Media.
Yes.
Black Mist Media, and it's been in existence since 2010. 2010.
Okay.
And yeah, so it works mostly offline because I do mostly communications.
Okay.
And yeah, sometimes I do content which I do put out separately. But it's it's a private media house, let me just say.
So you do like what, PR or what kind of
like communications. I've got like clients who are my biggest client is a fiber company. So I do their internal communications, I do their marketing, I do their conflict resolutions, I do their media liaisons and things like that.
Serious. We need those skills within the family. So I will definitely be in touch with the eye. We do have a Rastafari media and communication community that I would love to add the eye to. You know, with platforms like Rastafari TV, Just Jam Magazine, Ion Radio, you know, a whole portion of different Rastafari owned media platforms. So we definitely would love to have, because again, we're trying to create a global architecture to take Rastafari to that next level, you know. And part of economics is having access to platforms where you can access the consumer, the audience, you know, your direct to consumer access point, so that when we have our products and services, we are making sure that we're not going through third parties, or we have access. We can go to a Rastafari platform and access that audience and that those economics. So I definitely, you know, I think we would value your knowledge of communications and that type of architecture, because that's what's happening, family. We have to build. One of the things I don't want to do is to dwell on the problem and then we're not moving forward on the solutions, you know, because we do that a lot. And that looks like we're burning Babylon all day, but we don't talk about building Zion. You know what I mean? So you're burning,
Nope.
and you want everything, but then what's the alternative? You know?
But you see, that's what we have done differently in terms of the collaboration between Mimi and I, because it's been maybe 2 to 3 years now that we have actively stopped complaining and actively put ourselves in helping and assisting without even publicizing issues that a lot of Rastafari women have been going through, that up to the point that there are some women now who know that if I have a problem, I can call Mystical and I can call Sister Mimi. And at least I know these two will find a way to try and assist me, you know, or they might connect me with somebody. So we stopped talking many years ago with this. We stopped shaming people, but we started taking action. And there's been a lot of horrific cases, you know, that have like fallen onto our laps. And we've just like taken the ball rolling and just went with them. So words without action is something that we definitely don't do in this duo.
I love it. I love it. And the item have a partner here. When you need access to media, we are here for the item. This is your new family, Mystical Ebony. Sister Mimi already knew this family already, but now you're part of this family. So anything that I need, consider it done in terms of the Lion Voice Network and having access to this platform. And again, we're going to follow up with the eye so we can get your personal story in depth, because we're very fascinated with the eye and the eye works. I want to go through some of these comments in the comment section. If you have any questions and you're watching live for these two dynamics, you can put your comments in the comment section. We're going to allow for some question and answers. Big up to the Global Lion Pride family who are here. Big up to my sister from Reunion Island who is watching with the family. Big up Ras Roots with the $20 contribution. He says, hail up the Lion Voice Network and these mighty empresses, Sister Mimi and Mystical Ebony, for bringing awareness to the evil of domestic abuse and violence. I and my little cousin was murdered last Sunday as a cause of give thanks, you see. So this is the pain, you know, when you bring up these things. I would never know that about Ras Roots, but when you bring up these topics, you see how this cancer is affecting our community. And as you said, since you have taken up this, people are calling you now. And we burn the Vatican for their secret society and their nastiness and their filthiness. But how are we going to burn Vatican if we have these things happening amongst I and we sweeping it under the rug? Then we become like Vatican. You know what I mean? We become like the Anglican and the this and the that who hide these things. You know, Rastafari, we are the light of the world.
And our biggest enemy is ourself. Our biggest enemy is ourself, because it's not the community fighting us. It is our brothers and sisters who then fight us. There is something that's just been happening where there's brothers who have been outwardly having a smear campaign against the sister and I because we're bringing a light to these issues. And I think it's very sad that your own stumbling block is your own people.
Yes.
I think that's the most hurtful in this journey, that our biggest pushback is from the brothers. Our biggest disappointment is seeing brothers going to court and supporting perpetrators instead of supporting victims. And the brothers coming around and then demonizing the people who are bringing awareness to people doing horrific things to children, to hydrants who are murdering their sisters, because we've also dealt with about 2 or 3 cases of sisters who were quite recently murdered by the ides. And what hurts is that when we bring this to light, it is our very own brothers who come and say, you two are problematic.
Yes, yes. And remember, if the eye ever go to a Naya Bingi, we chant, it's the chosen few.
Yes, sir.
And we are the chosen few. And I think a lot of us believe that everyone who says Rastafari is Rastafari. And a lot of things have crept in unaware, you know. So we have to understand that it's really a few of I and I. And when someone reveal who they are, believe them. You know what I mean? Trust that is who they are. You know, one's defending injustice and these things. We have to have no apology, but to separate ourselves from these ones, because for too long, just because a brethren say Rastafari, we taking him as Rastafari, but his works don't match up to what he's saying. You know, to your works are your resume, your fruits. You know, if I can't see no works, I'm not spending no time with no guy. You know what I mean? And I don't care how the reputation is. You know what I mean? We need to see results. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that a man cannot fail, you know, because I fail all the time. And I'm very open and honest about my failure. But you keep moving forward. Failure is part of the journey. But if I just see a brethren, you're burning out everything all the time, and I don't see what you produce, I don't see no fruit, I don't see no family thriving round the eye. We see chaos. We know who the eye is, and even though I would still deal with these brethren with diplomacy, I know that I can't spend no time with these ones. I know I can't build anything with these ones, and this is how we have to be militant, because Gideon, enough of these ones have crept in and are among I and I, creating this havoc. So, and this is why the discernment as well, you know, for the sister in them when they're choosing kingman, you have to vet your kingman, the courtship. You have to make sure your family is involved too. I have a daughter, you know what I mean? And these are things I have to teach my daughter as well, because you can't just pick up this kingman because you see him at a dance and him dance nice and maybe he's a good DJ and you like him. That's not enough, you know what I mean? You have to vet these brethren too, you know? So we have to put some responsibility on the sister in them as well. And I hope that the I them are also teaching, you know, that would be part of the education, is teaching sister how to vet a brethren. You know, if the brethren already have 5 baby mothers, this might not be a stable brethren for the eye. You know what I mean? This is reality. You know what I mean? No matter how.
That is true.
Yes.
That's very true.
Yes.
But we also have a very big issue of grooming.
Okay.
Aya. And it's unfortunate that even us, when we were still young, you know,
what grooming is. Explain it.
Grooming. So, Aya, this is when the kings, the old kings, target the young sistrins. The young sistrins, they see them coming in and they know these ones are still impressionable. This one, I can tell her that this is Rastafari and she's going to follow my lead. and you find these kings who are 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years older than these princesses, grabbing them as quick as they can and giving them kids. 20 years ago, my friends were being pulled out of school, because they were saying, this is brainwash, this is Babylon. You just need to come and sit here and have babies because that's life. And so that's a problem because they use this power dynamic to mislead someone who's pure and just seeking faith and will look at you and your long locks with your little bit of gray hair and think this is a wise man. This man has been here for a long time. So I can learn for him. So we have a very big problem of grooming, which is something that we don't speak a lot about because they really should. A king who is 35 has nothing in common with a sister who's just come out of high school and she's 19, 20 and she's doing her first year. She has not lived. She has not done anything. And that's a very serious talk, which also then circles back and leads into the domestic abuse at the end of the day. It might not be physical, but then there's coercive control. There's this, there's that. So that is a big issue that also just gets a blind eye turned on.
Yes. And this is why I think we have to get families involved in the courtship process again, because historically the family was the guard against grooming. You couldn't deal with, for example, a man can't groom my daughter, because I am there as a father. She's not going on the road. I don't know where she is. Having that protection. If you're going to go out, you go with your brother or you go with somebody else. But having the family, and I find a lot of our families, because of the broken or the dysfunction, that traditional mechanism of having the family be that vetting, part of the vetting machinery. And I think how we solve that as Rastafari is really emphasizing that for brethren, and I did love that, because one of the brethren I interviewed from South Africa, who was a polygamous, he did say that, if you're not going through the family, then it's not legitimate. You cannot be dealing with a sister and you're not talking to her mother, her father, and sitting down and having that interaction so that everything is above the board. And they can balance, how they want. In terms of age gap, is a touchy topic. Once the two people are adults, or considered adults, it's a touchy topic because it has worked before in the past. It's ancient. But I do agree that there needs to be some checks and balances. It's not just you find
because now we have also observed in the past, because I think 2 decades is enough to also realize that this is problematic. And 2 decades later, a lot of those sisters are now destitute. They have no education, and those kings are no longer in their lives. And they don't take care of these kids that they made. If they were going to stay for life with these queens, maybe. What we have seen instead in these 2 decades, like I said, I only speak for the context of my immediate community. And so I don't know how it is elsewhere. And we've realized that it has derailed a lot of women. And this goes back and it circles to their economic stability. They have nothing to stand on because they dedicated themselves to this king who was older, and they listened to him because immediately you come into the situation with the power dynamic. As much as we might say that, no, but there is a power dynamic just by virtue of that you are 10 years older than me, or you are 15 years, or you are 20 years older than me. There's already an unspoken power dynamic. So it's touchy, but it's unfortunate that it's one of those uncomfortable conversations that
we
need to
can't,
happen.
and we can't grow in comfort. Comfort is the enemy of growth and development. You know, you have to get uncomfortable to grow. So for those that this one touch your con, your mash your con, it has to happen. We don't apologize. We have to bust the seal, you know, we have to break the chains,
Yes,
set the captives free. That is part of the trad, you know what I mean? And it's gonna be very serious, you know. And this is why relationships, you know, I have a program on this channel called Lion Love, and I created that program because I wanted to talk about our relationships, because I realized fundamentally this is where we're going wrong. You know, the male female is the root of a lot of the dysfunction if it doesn't start right. And this is why so many societies have rules around courtship, and it's very highly regulated. In most traditional societies, marriage is very highly regulated. And we, with our modern brain, we say, man, this is repressive and thing. But then when you see it just free up, you realize why the Asians always highly regulate marriage. Now we can argue, it can be tweaked, you know what I mean? But the free for all, the loosey goosey, this is my word, loosey goosey does not work, you know what I mean? And that's what we see in Rastafari right now, is it's very loosey goosey, you know what I mean? Anything goes, and we are lion trod. We need regulation around how the man them deal with the history, and that is just something that is factual, you know, because as you say, we have 20, 30, 40 years of case study now to examine, and we're not seeing strong families like we used to. We're not seeing youth participation. You know, you go to Bobo, Bingi, 12 tribe, Orthodox, the youth, them are missing in most of these places in terms of the teenagers and the young adults. You know, we're not seeing them.
And we are not seeing a lot of our Rasta peers raising children as Rastas. Their kids are now growing up as whatever. So it means that the kids are watching, and the kids don't want to be part of something that they see is already dysfunctional in their eyes.
Yes, it's a fact. I have two teenagers, and I can't say that they are Rastafari in there. I mean, I think they'll come forward to the liberty because that's what they know. But when I listen to their music that they're listening to and what they dealing with, you know what I mean, it's not Naya Bingi, I can tell you that, you know, and I have to be honest, you know, but because they don't have a lot of Rastafari youth around them, you know what I mean, they're around, my youths are Pan-African, they go to a Pan-African homeschool, so my youths are very Pan-African and go through rites of passage, all of those things, but they don't have that Rastafari vibration. I try my best, but you know what I mean, what the sister is saying is so correct. So we have to do better, and we have to hold ourselves accountable, because if the fruit is not fruiting the way that we had envisioned, then who do we blame? You know, or do we ignore and say everything is Irie? No, we can't do that, or we will be hypocritical. You know, and this is not a hypocritical platform. Sister Mimi, what you feel?
Yes.
Yes, that is true, my brethren. That is true. We need to just to like I'm saying, we need to pick up. We need to pick ourselves up. You know, we need to bring that hope. We need, like Sister said, re-education. We need to step up and really bridge the gap, because we don't know what tomorrow can bring. You know, last time there was a coronavirus and there had to be some shutdowns. Imagine, should there be any shutdown or the price of everything skyrocketing, and we still don't have your spinach or tomatoes, you just still don't have your onion in your own garden. It's going to be a nightmare. So let's just make sure that we embrace the food security. We make sure that we empower ourselves, acknowledging that we are the italist and we can't afford to be buying ital every time we need to cook. You know, so let's say with this conference, we are hoping to establish a lot of cooperatives that can enable economical liberation of our people. We need to have our own money mint. We need to so that our youth, we know we have something that we call generational
Yes.
wealth, and the legacy that we need to leave for our youth, so that at least they can keep up and embrace what efforts that we have done for them. So in those few words, I will say, Raskwasi, we appreciate that we're going to be partnering in this conference media wise, because we need to have a lot of information alerts in terms of when we start, with sisters applying, registering for the conference, and marketing the conference itself and packaging everything, So definitely we'll have our own separate meetings, and we'll see how far we can go, so that we can deliver a fruitful conference that will be, because we are planning to make it an annual conference, and it's going to rotate within the different regions of South Africa, but we are starting in Free State, and the support is very positive. So we are looking forward to the great works.
Give thanks. And again, I just encourage the item to focus on food production. I encourage the item to focus on food production, because the Gideon is going to get hotter. Let me add, the Gideon is going to get hotter. This war that is taking place, and we see even with what's happening with the Sahel states, it's going to get really serious. And everywhere we are as Rastafari, we need to be focusing on food production. This Wednesday, we're having this is a draft flyer. This Wednesday, we're having Professor Kojo Opongwade, Dr. Professor Opongwade, to talk about the war and peace in West Africa. We're going to go into what's happening with the Sahel states. We're going to go what's happening in Ghana. We're talking about these jihadists that are popping up all over the continent, spreading war. Who is funding them? Who is backing them? What does this mean? So we're going to have that reasoning on Wednesday. So if you're watching, tune in Wednesday. We're going into this whole Africa Liberation Month. But everywhere we are, because as you can see, food, water, these are things that are going to be vital as we go through this Armageddon period. We have to anticipate the collapse of the global supply chain. So your grocery stores, these things that we rely on, all of that's going to happen. I know even in Thailand, in Asia, the items supposed to be being affected by the fuel shortages. What is it like there, Sister Ebony?
Right now, it seems like everything is okay. People were panicking for a while and hoarding or trying to mass buy fuel, but the government put a stop to that very quickly. And life is moving. The public transport is moving, but they do have like a ration on how much you can take at one time.
Okay.
But there is petrol for now.
Yes, and that's going to be par for the course for most nations. Rationing, these things are going to become regular around the world. And again, as Rastafari, do we want to be in the position that we are dependent on what people tell us we have to ration, or do we want to be owners of our own supply chain? These are the questions that we need to ask. The sister and them, I want to commend the item. We're going to give you a chance to say your final word sound. I want to commend the item for being brave. This is the energy of Empress Taitu, of Empress Menen. This is our glorious history of African queens and warrior. Ya Santewa, Queen Nzinga, Queen Nyabingi, all of these great African women. The item are standing in that kind of vibration by taking on this topic, because it's not easy. A lot of brethren I know will reject, but these are necessary things, because until we heal, we will always be in survival mode, and we'll never touch that prosperity, which we know is part of our divine inheritance. Rastafari is a multi-billion-dollar IP around the world. and is making people millions of dollars, and none of that is filtering to the people who are actually living that life, or very little is filtering to the people who are actually living that life. And we have to rise and take and claim our space economically so that we can build the society that we have in our hearts, which is that heavenly Edenic reality. But we cannot build it if we don't have the capital to build it. So that is where we are. And I want to just say that the eyes, them as sistren, are on the front line. Don't let anyone tell you you're not on the front line. I know there's many brethren in South Africa that are righteous brethren that, you know, it's just for them to identify those ones, you know, and work in hand, like energies, you know. That is it. Don't spend too much time trying to clash the opposing energies. Find the like energies and put the systems in place. Systems will always be personalities, you know. So that is what we have to do, is find the like energies, work, blank out the noise of the naysayers, put the systems in place, and focus on the young people so that we can educate them. And as I was telling to a brethren the other day, if we invest in the youth, in 20 years, you see that return on your investment, you know, because those youths then become the adults. You know what I mean? So you have a very quick turnaround, so to speak, of your investment. If you really invest in some youths and empower some youths, you're going to have a strong cohort of adults that you can work with in 20 years from now. So we got to start now, knowing that the future is bright. All right, so I'm going to give the eye a chance, Sister Mystical Ebony. We didn't even talk about the vegan DJ, you know, so I don't want you to feel like this is it, you know. I don't want you to feel like we did anything here, just then scratch the surface. But give us your final sound on domestic violence and everything, and then we're gonna have to come forward to hear about all your powerful works and what you're doing and who is the vegan DJ and what kind of music and all of them vibes there. But yeah, give us your final sounds, my sister.
Okay, so firstly, we give thanks for the platform and for giving us the opportunity to voice on such an important issue. When it comes to gender-based violence and domestic violence, the time is now. There is no more time to talk about it. There's no more time to hide it. It's time to just take action. And in this time, we need to set examples as the community that we claim that we are, because people know the Rastafari liberty as a life of family, a life of peace, and a life that is governed by goodness and godliness. So we really need to start acting accordingly. We need to have better examples for the youth. We need to be more accountable to each other. And we really, really need to take the idea of being your brother's keeper and your sister's keeper a bit more seriously, because all we have done mostly is failed each other, is failed the youth, and have put the community in a very questionable light in terms of South Africa. So thank you for giving us this platform. And we hope that, you know, this could also encourage, if there are any people in South Africa who are watching and have been feeling that they didn't have a space to voice their issues or need help or need somebody who can intervene. My socials are open. Sister Mimi's socials are open. You know, please do not be afraid to reach out to us, and we will deal with anything with discretion, and also put you or head you towards some resources that will be helpful, whether it's counseling, whether it's somebody to walk with you towards the process of laying a charge, if you need to lay a charge, or whether it's somebody to help you and stand with you and show up with you at a court appearance, whether it's having to rally a group of women to support you, we will try our utmost best to be there and to be forward as people who say that enough is enough and the change starts with us.
Beautiful,
Thank you so much.
beautiful. And what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to get a panel of South African brethren to talk on this topic. So that's what I will do on mine, just to give a balanced perspective, because the item have opened the door. We made history today. Give yourself a round of applause, first of all. Give yourself a round of applause. We made history today, bringing this topic in the light, but now I want to hear from the brethren them in South Africa. So I'm going to work on that. I'm getting a panel of brethren who are willing to talk on this topic, because we need to continue this reasoning. And then we're going to also talk about it in the context of the global family, because as I said, it's not just South Africa. It's not just the Caribbean. It's everywhere that we are. These are issues, because we've dealt with this in Washington, D.C. We've dealt with this in New York. We've dealt with this all over Iration. You know what I mean? So I know that these are things that have to be addressed. Sister Mimi, before I bring the eye forward for the final sound, I just want the family to know that we are going to be going live tonight. We're going to be going live. I'm bringing forward the Rastafari man standard reasoning, how to live Rastafari during this Armageddon. Because I realize a lot of brethren didn't grow up with the father in the home. A lot of brethren have questions. And as brethren, we have to take accountability. So I am here. I have been blessed that my parents are still together, in a union that I have been with my wife. We celebrate 18 years of legal marriage on paper. In 2 days is our anniversary, but we've been together since over 19 years, sorry. And we've been together. This is my queen, just correct me. You see me get a thump right there. So we've been together for 19 years and legally, but we've been together over 20, just treading, you know what I mean? So I want to share that, and it's been the greatest thing for I, because everything I do, including the Lion Voice Network, would not be possible without I Queen. You know what I mean? So we want to share during this Armageddon. You really need, and this is why His Majesty tried with Empress Menen, and Empress Menen was there when he could not be in a place. She was there. We're going to be talking about this for African victory. When His Majesty was on the battlefield, Empress Menen was running the government. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So that is the example that we have. You know what I mean? So we want to talk about it. We're going live tonight. So if you can tune back in, I know in South Africa it will be in the middle of the night. So I forgive the item. You can watch it on the replay. But we're going to be doing a lot on the Rastafari man standard, because we're not a religion, but there is a standard. That is the thing that I tell. And also this year, I celebrate 30 years since I started dealing with my wife. And I mean 30 years total. All right. This is our 30-year anniversary.
That's
so
amazing.
We give thanks for that. All right. So Sister Mimi. Yes, and I'm not alone. I know other brethren who have the same testimony. Rastafari brethren have the same testimony. So these are things that we want to lift up. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, because I have a past. My wife overcame, not when we were married, but, as a young lion, we treaded that lifestyle of many sistering, but we mature. And we try our best to keep within that heretical fullness, you know what I mean? But that being said, Sister Mimi, give us your final song.
Give thanks, family, for everything that is good, even for the balance. We always say next to the
Sister Mimi got frozen Wi-Fi. The guy make an appearance, but it looked like she might be driving too. Hold on 1 second. We're gonna try to. Sister Mimi. We're gonna give her a little moment. I think she's moving. While we wait for Sister Mimi, I forgot to ask the eye, Mystical Ebony, how can people tap in with the eye if they want, and what other works does the eye have going on? If people wanted to spend money with the eye, how could they spend some money with the eye?
So I've got a couple of things that I am doing. So beyond the communications, I am also an artist, and actually this is a great time to showcase some of the art pieces or type of things that I do. So this, if you want, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I see you.
But if you really do want to, yes, if you do want to support me, this is one of my works that I make.
Mighty.
And so those are made by me, handmade rugs with beautiful images of Rastafari women and their head wraps on.
Oh man! So how send me the link in the description, and I'll put it in the description so people who are watching this can reach out to the eye. I'm gonna get the eye information from Sister Mimi so we can connect and reason. But definitely, I'll put the link in the description of this video. So if you're watching on the replay, just go down to the description, tap in, make sure you support the sister. We want at least 1,000 people to buy those rags. We can do it, like right. That is the vision we have here.
Support my functional art. I call it functional art. I don't want it just to be pretty, but it should have a space in your home all the time. So
we love it.
And I am aiming to make only in terms of the prints of the mats, I only make 3 of 3. So only 3 people will have the very same one as you. And
wow, that's beautiful. So we're gonna support the eye. You're gonna have to come forward for your solo interview, and we'll go more into where you got those skills and how how we can support your enterprise with the global, leveraging the global family. So definitely, that's why we're here. You're part of the family now. You can't escape again. Once you come on the platform, Sister Mimi, once you come on the platform, you're part of the family. We're building the architecture of Zion, on earth. Sister Mimi, continue. You're driving, Sister Mimi, it look like.
No, I'm not driving. Just that I had to, I had to charge my cartridge.
Okay.
I was just saying, give thanks. I was saying that we are looking forward to those Rastafari entities, and that will love to be part of the conference. The upcoming conference is the last Sunday of May. I think it's the the Thursday and the Friday, the 28th and the 29th of May. We're going to be having it on a hybrid platform. We'll have a physical and also virtual link that we will use. So please, Kwasi, you remind me, maybe we'll have time during the Throne to Reason. I need the contact of Mama Shiba. I know we have some Rastafari women who are into holistic healing, who are into therapy, who are into counseling and all that. So we would like to host them also during the conference so that they can also be part of the program. in terms of the healing part of our society. I wanted to say that because I haven't spoken about it. Otherwise, it's always good to be on the platform. I will make sure that I watch the one man standing, or is it what, Rastafari man standing? I'm interested to watch that episode also, because I know we'll be left with a lot of information. Nonetheless, let's push the works. Let's continue to do heretical works of our father and the mother federation. Let's hope that we can have the fruits, of rehabilitating our communities. Those who are watching and those that will tell once again to watch. I hope that they will take something out of this reasoning, this session of today, in terms of us being better nation, because we are not here to fight against our own, but we are here to fight the illnesses within ourselves. It's not personal war or personal attacks that we are coming with, but we are saying let's come together and heal and redeem the situation that is happening, so that the next 12 months when we reason or when we have this episode again, we can talk better things in terms of how far have we healed and what solutions have we implemented through the powers, Give thanks.
Give thanks. And always the intent is not um to just highlight or complain about the situation. Is to find a solution, is to heal. I believe the media, or I know in Babylon, they use media to push their agenda. And at the same way as Rastafari, we have to use media to push our agenda, which is the healing of the family, the restoration of our greatness as a people. And we won't get the full potential out of our sistren unless we invest in them. We won't get the full potential out of our young people unless we invest in them. And so we have to hear their voice. And if they have these grievances, we have to address these grievances. We cannot hide them or think that we are going to go around them. So I give thanks to everyone who came. Every weekend this month, we're going to be having early episodes as we, the time difference with our African family. So we're reaching out across the continent. So make sure you stay tuned. We'll announce who we are going to talk to next Saturday or next Sunday. But they're going to be early episodes for the whole month of May as we touch base with our African family. We want to touch forward with Kenya. We want to touch with Sierra Leone. We want to touch Malawi. We're going to see who we can get on stream. But we want to just touch base with the global family and find out what's happening with our Rastafari family on the continent. You know what I mean? So big up Sister Mimi. Big up Sister Ebony, all of the item. This was this is a classic. We made history.
Africa unite.
I am Bingy.
I'm singing Africa Unite. I'm singing Africa Unite.
I feel it. I feel it. Sister Mimi, are you an artist? You're an artist too, Sister Mimi?
Yes, Africa Unite, Africa Unite. It's a unity month. We are saying we are moving right out of Babylon, and we are going to our forefathers' land. Yeah, theoretically, physically, any which way. Africa is big,
Yeah, let me leave the item with this. His Majesty said in 1960, the tide that is sweeping Africa cannot be stayed. No force on earth is great enough to halt or reverse the trend. Its march is as relentless and inexorable as the passage of time. They cannot stop this family. I just have to live up, you know what I mean? So there you have it.
Yes,
and the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the Lion Voice. Ili?
It's AWTITUDE representing for Lion's Voice. Yes, Massive. This is the time for I and I, the lion, and to tell I and I story, our story. Yes? And we reign and rule like this. Reign and rule, yeah. Selassie, I reign and rule. You can't take the lion vibes, people. If you no fool, cause we no Selassie rain and rule. Rain and rule. Selassie I rain and rule. Queen Omega drop them in the fire. Pull from them no Queen Omega, she rain and rule. Royal Kushite, ancient essence, Emperor Selassie in a majestical presence, flash of all sevens, projecting through I and I events. We sing a song for the king, we bring joy and blessing and overstanding, yeah. We hear Jah every day, hey. Rain and rule, yeah. Selassie, rain and rule. Yes, I attitudes and colonization of global diplomats optimizing expressions to the world. Tiluo, tilie.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jaja soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up Lamb's voice. Now put it, I jolly for say that.
Greetings, this is Ras Shiloh. The time has come for the lions to tell their own story. See? This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir? Ras Shiloh said that. Are you satisfied? Wipe those tears from your eyes. I'm all alone, still you thought I was telling a lie. This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir?
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the lion's voice.
African pride, root of all nations, boy. I tried with the lion, the Ras Tafari. Lion of it, tried with lioness like I do. Empress on the front line, we need you. Well, this is Medicine, the steady one, and you are now tuned in to the Lion's Voice Network. What the lion forward for do? Scorch them. Roast and parch them.
I will never stop, hail the Most High, and I will never stop, call Ras Tafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
The time has come for lions to tell I own story. Yes, you're listening to Lion's Voice. I is Rastafari chilling from the island of St. Croix. Yeah, I'm bringing to your Rastafari vibes. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Babylon born when Rasta come together. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Because Babylon done when I and I come together. Look how we live together, look how we work together, Whoa, Babylon done when Rasta come together. Hail I, Rastafari, His Majesty and Empress men and blessed. Yeah man, hailing from St. Croix, Rastafari, hear you.
Aye.
Empress Manel, and I young Science. Oh, you're wrong. Universally unfold, be told. Blessed love, this is Itege Idama, and it's time for the lioness and the lion's voices to be heard. This is the lion's voice, Rastafari.
Yes, this is Tippy I. The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. You're listening to the Lion's Voice blog. Respect and love from St. Croix VI to the world. Rastafari.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open
when you rise, wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice, Rastafari.
Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to the lion voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here, hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the light. Lion voice.